Hey everybody, this is Fallout, the Starcraft 2 noob here. So I was doing some thinking. Now, I've been making a lot of videos of my practice league matches and trying to cast over them and tell you what I've been doing. And that's all well and good. But I figured, I don't think I'm going to get a lot of views from pros on this channel. Not a lot of really high-end players are really going to be watching my failure. But I'm kind of hoping that maybe some new players are going to tune in to see kind of how a new player evolves. That's what I'm hoping. So in any event, I figured now's a good time to kind of pass on what I've learned. Now keep in mind, I'm only Bronze League here, so you're not getting Diamond League advice from me, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to start up a basic game here. Again, the AI is set for as easy as you can get it, because I really don't care right now. I want to have time to talk. So here we are. We're on the map. Now, if you are starting off as a first-time StarCraft player, one of the things you need to keep in mind is this is how you're going to start off just about every game. You're going to have your one command center or base, and your handful of workers. Now, the first thing you need to do as soon as this game starts, keep in mind I'm delaying this here because I'm trying to talk. First thing you need to do, select all of your workers. Just left-click on the map and drag it. You see the big green box. Highlight them all. And then right-click on any of these nodes here. These little mineral fields. They'll all gather and then they'll start spreading out. As you get better at the game, you'll learn how to split them. You can actually queue them up. Like what I do is I'll select them all. I'll point them all toward one of these nodes on the side here. And then I'll immediately highlight 3 more and send them over to this one. So it splits them out a little bit faster. Anyway, as you start, first thing you want to do is queue up a worker. Either a probe, SCV, or a drone. And you also want to set your rally point for your command center right onto one of these nodes. I usually pick an empty mineral field, so that way I try to harvest as many of them evenly as possible. I don't want them all running out at the same time. But as you can see, they all start out at 1500 and are gradually peeled apart. So now we got to keep queuing them up. Because we have a lot of units to go. Pretty much, let's see, 8, 9. So I'm going to queue up 10. Normally I won't queue them up because I won't have these many resources on hand. But in any event, so I got that going. Now the first thing you want to build is more supply, more storage room. As you can probably see up at the top here, I'm at 9 of 11 total supply. So that means I can only build 2 more units before I'm supply locked. So here we go. I'm going to send one of my SCVs over here. As Terran, you want to try and wall off these little ramps here. It really depends on the game you're playing. This helps stave off any early aggression against Protoss or Terran. Against Zerg, you might still want to do it. It helps prevent against scouts and things like that too. Now, one of the things you will want to keep in mind is, speaking of scouting, that is something you're going to want to be able to do. One of the things I did kind of neglect to do here is hotkey my command center onto number 4. Now that, where you hotkey and how you hotkey, that's not what this tutorial's about. This is just for basic stuff. So first thing we're going to do, so this SCV, I would have normally queued him up to go, but he's finished the supply depot, so now I'm going to take him, and I'm just going to right-click on the mini-map of where in this map I know where my opponent is, but I kind of want to see what he's up to. So I just right-click to this area of the mini-map, which is where I'm pretty sure these are the only 2 spawn points on this map. Alright, so in any event, we need to start building some offensive stuff. So I'm going to grab another SCV, I'm going to queue up one of my barracks. Now these are my army-producing units. Again, this varies from race to race, spawning pools, gateways, things like that. So this is just the basic ground unit item. I'm also going to just go ahead and stick the supply depot there. So when he's done with the barracks, here we go. So let's see what's going on. So I got a Protoss here. So I'm just going to grab my little SCV and I'm going to shoot him around here. Now he's already got a Zealot here completed. So he's able to kill my SCV if I leave him around too long. So I can see what's going on. There's not a hell of a lot going on right now. So I'll get him shipped out and I'll have him sent back to my base. I'll even just send him right back to that mineral node. So anyway, once this barracks is done, I'm going to hotkey it and I'm going to start building units. Now I'm falling really behind because I'm doing a lot of talking here, so I don't really care. Like I said, it's very easy. I could care less exactly what happens here. But my other SCV should be coming back. Yeah, he's on his way. Just in case he comes back, I'm going to drop that down. So now, the point, at this point, you're really following any kind of build order you may have. You're just trying to figure out what order you need to build things in. Here, I'm just going to queue up a Marine because I want to get some stuff going. Keep in mind, you can set rally points for all of your unit-producing buildings. So, like with the barracks here, I'm going to shoot the rally point here. So every Marine or Marauder that this barracks produces is going to go right to this point. Now, another thing I'm going to want to do here is start gathering some gas. Now, of course, the timing in which you gather gas and the order in which you do it depends on the build order you're using. Depends on a lot of little things. For now, I'm just going to keep spitting out Marines until my gas is done. I'm going to keep queuing up some SCVs here. This little guy, I'm going to actually have him go back on this unit. No, it doesn't really matter at this point. Anyway, so you're trying to make sure that you have a decent supply of units. Now, here's another mistake, and this is good because you're going to make this mistake too. I'm busy talking too much, I'm not paying attention to this. This is an idle SCV. I had him queued to start building the supply depot, and then he just sits here. And he won't do anything until you tell him otherwise. So an important thing, and I'll show you how to do this, because I'm going to build another barracks. Let's queue up a barracks, and I'm going to stick it back here. So he's going to go build that. Now what I can do is tell him as soon as he's done building that, go back and start mining. Now you see that little green line. What I did is I hold down my shift key, and I right-clicked where I wanted him to go. I could have him build multiple units. I could queue those up into, on his queue, or I could just have him go right back to mine. I can have him do whatever I want. I could even queue up a scout for him. Like, I could send him scouting all around the map if there were multiple spawn locations and I wasn't sure where my opponent was. So there's all sorts of advantages to doing that. Here's another pointer. Now, my refinery is finished. I have the SCV that builds it. You don't want to have him queued back up to the minerals or anything like that, because he's going to start harvesting gas. You are going to want to have at least 3 workers harvesting gas at the same time. Well, I shouldn't say at least. You're going to want to have 3. So I'm going to take these 2 guys, and if you click on your refinery or whatever you use to gather gas, you can see how many harvesters you have. So that's good. So now we got this going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slap down this tech lab. And here's an important thing too. If you build a building to wall off and you have to do an expansion, you're going to have to move it in order to add that expansion, depending on the map. Most of the time, that's how it winds up. But alright, slap that down, throw on a tech lab. I'm pulling another Marine out of here. And here's another thing. I keep all of my barracks or ground producing units, all of the same units on the same hotkey, which is exactly how you're supposed to do it anyway. So, I'm going to start upgrading my command center. I'm falling way behind, but this is very easy, so I really don't care. I can catch up in a heartbeat. Alright, so now we're going to start producing some Marauders. This one, I'm going to stick a reactor on it. Reactors are fun because you can queue up up to 2 actively producing units at the same time. So that's nice. Another thing we're going to do here, now keep in mind, a lot of the stuff I'm doing here is Terran is going to be different for whatever race you play.
Upgrade complete.
But it is what it is.
Insufficient phosphine gas.
As you can see, slowly gathering gas. Still got 3 harvesters on there. My upgrade here is complete. Terrans, of course, have the mules that you can use to rapidly gather minerals. If this were a regular game, I'd probably be doing this a lot faster. I'm going to grab another SCV here. Let's see. I want to do a spaceport, but I can't do my spaceport until my factory's done. So let's do a few more barracks. I'm going to show you a neat trick here. We're coming a little high on supply. So if you need to build multiple items, now this doesn't apply to every race, but it does apply to Terran. If you need to queue up, say I want to build a bunch of supply depots so I don't have to worry about anything right now. I'm going to grab a nice chunk of them right here.
Base is under attack.
Oh, here we go. So we've got some more going on. They sent one little, one little lonely space guy. One little lonely zealot, and he's pulling back. So I'm going to move all my units right here. I think I'll set my rally point to be right on this ledge here. And we'll start queuing some units up. So we'll have a small little army going. Anyway, as I was saying, I need to build supply depots, because I'm now supply locked. So I'm going to grab a handful of units here. And this is another example of queuing. But, because I have those multiple workers selected, I'm going to hold down my shift key, and I'm going to build some supply depots. 2, 3, we'll do 4. Now I let go of the shift key so that I just deselect the building, and then I will right click, I'll hold it down again, and right click on a node. Now as you can see, 4 of those highlighted workers just went off to build these supply depots all at the same time. When they're done, they're going to run back here and begin mining again. So that's super handy. So again, I'm gonna queue them up anyway. I don't really care. I know I'm supply locked at the moment, but whatever. Queue up an SCV. Let's drop a mule. I try to keep these down, just because they're a pain in the butt. These I want to stay up, obviously. All right. So now I need to build starport. So do the right hotkey here. So I'm going to slap a starport. This is going to allow me to build some air units, things like that. What you should be doing as a Starcraft player is constantly producing worker units. So you can quickly gather resources, quickly get, a decent handle on everything. And you're also going to want to start looking into expanding. Now on this particular map, and on many maps, you have this little, very close gathering of mineral nodes, or mining nodes and whatnot here. That is your natural expansion. So if you ever hear anybody refer to the natural, or the natural expansion, it's basically the closest, most easily defended expansion area on the map. Now you can see, if you look on the mini-map, there's all these little arcs of minerals. These are all expansions, or possible expansions. So the Terran have a nice perk that if I want to expand, I can just build my command center, my next one, right on my existing base, so it's very easy for me to protect it. And then I can lift it up and move it. So it's kind of nice. So my starport's done. We're gonna come back to this in a second. My starport's done. I'm gonna send all of its rally points right to where my army currently is, and I'm gonna bind it to a hotkey. And I also feel like well, I can't build another one right now. A little light on gas. So if I'm finding myself a little light on gas, then let's build another one. Why not, right? Do my hotkeys right here. Okay. So the command centers take a while to build, and that's fine. It is what it is. We want to make sure we got an army going here. Orbital command, we're still producing SCVs. Oh look, we got another mule energy ready. Drop that down. Alright. First medevac is here. We're going to park it right over the army. What we're going to want to do, when you do your natural expansion, on this map, on this map it's not really necessary because the natural is kind of tucked away in the back here, and the only way for them to get to that is to either use a unit that can jump this gap here, this hill, or they have to go up through my regular base and down into it and get to the natural. So I probably don't have to worry about it. I know I'm dealing with Protoss, so I know they could be building Void Rays that'll get to it, anything like that. So if you want, you want to grab your army, and when you're ready to move this into position, move your army down here, or at least into a defendable position, like where the army's coming from. So I'm going to move them all just right here. This helps kind of guard both points. I'm pretty walled off here, so if anybody's coming, they're going to have to go over this gap. So I'm just going to stick my army right there. This SCV, again, I didn't queue him back up, but here we go. So, let's lift it off, and we're going to want to land it. Now, as you can see, you can only land it in certain points. You can't just park it right next to minerals and get real easy time, so I'm going to have to land it here. So while that's going, and what you'll also want to do is bind this to the same hotkey, as long as it's going to be the same kind of supply depot. If you're going to turn it into a planetary fortress or anything like that, then the hotkeys are going to be different, so you'll want to have its own separate hotkey set. So again, let's keep them going. I got another medevac that's done. I'm going to ship him down here. I'm going to bind the medevac there, or the starport there. And, yeah, I don't really need to worry about sending my army here, so I'm actually going to send them back up here. I'm not really sweating it. We're going to push out very soon, just to end this, but in any event, as any decent player, you're going to want to have a good idea of what your opponent's doing before you push out. Terran have a very nice perk called the orbital scan. So all I can do is I can, now say I'm up in my map here, and I'm doing my thing, I'm building on CVs, whatever. I have an orbital or scanner sweep ready, whatever. I can scan. That's what I want to do. I'm going to start converting that one while we're waiting. What I can do, so I don't have to take my eye off of what's going on up here, I can select the scan, and I can right-click on the mini-map where I want to scan. So left-click, excuse me. So here we go. What do we got going? Stargate, Robotics Factory, it's got one gateway, a Twilight Council going up. I think now's a good time. I think we should push out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop one of these. I'm going to drop one of these. I'm going to queue all these units to just follow here. I'm going to stick another few things going. And I'm just going to right-click on the mini-map and where I want them to go. So we're going to push out. Here we go. Oh, wait. Looks like he's pushing out too. But he's going to get owned pretty quickly because 2-unit push out on this map is not good. Another thing to keep in mind, enhancing your units. Terran require a couple of enhancements here that I've been kind of ignoring. Concussive shells and stim pack. I'm probably not going to need those against this opponent. I should have had those queued up way in advance anyway.
Not enough energy.
So, we've got that going, the CV's going. Again, I'm just going to start pushing out here. This is just ridiculous. So here we go. Whole army. I want to keep them together. I know they were trying to split up there. I don't want them to split up on me. We'll send another medevac. Whatever. I don't really care. Oh, as you can see, we are, once again, I'm supply locked for building starships. I'm not going to bother at this point. You'll want to keep pretty much on top of your supply, else you're going to get hosed really bad, really quick. But I'm ready to start moving in. Now, as I get closer, I'm probably going to want to do another scan if I have it ready. Normally, I would have another scan ready to go. So I'm going to hit my scan right here. Oh, okay. Look at that. Who the hell cares? That's a weak-ass army. So we're just going to move up right here. I want all my army into position. And here we go. Game on. So, again, this is not really something I care about. As you can see, I pretty much could ignore everything and I was still doing just fine. The key thing here is try to ignore a lot of the bullshit. I'm going to take out this gateway just for fun. But then, I'm going to head right into this guy's mineral line. You want to supply lock your opponent, or stop them from being able to gather supply as quickly as you possibly can. So I'm getting ready to just clean house. Here, fine. Everybody focus on this. Blow it up. And we should be getting GG any second now. There it is. So that's how it works. So this is really, really basic stuff that'll help you learn. I'm not showing you any build orders. I'm not showing you anything special. I am not trying to make you a great player. I'm showing you the utmost basics of stuff for starting as a multiplayer gamer in Starcraft. Like I said, that is literally like the most basic of stuff. There are a lot of other things you're going to want to learn, such as reading build orders, mastering your hotkeys is very important. Whatever's comfortable for you, whatever you feel you can work with, it's very important. But yeah, I mean, that's really the gist of it. Just be comfortable with how you play. Learn the basic stuff first. Don't try to learn really advanced micro, macro stuff Don't even ignore those words for now. As you're starting in this game, you're not going to really need to focus too much on that kind of stuff. You will need to soon, but like your first time in, when you're doing practice league or when you're just bullshitting around in AI games, you really don't need to worry too much about it. So yeah, that's about it. And as you can see here, you know, this kind of keeps. This is a good thing to review after every game, especially if you lose, because this will give you a really good snapshot of what you did versus your opponent. You can see how many units you trained, how your army was built. You can even check on your build order. So let's say you match up against a same race opponent, and they just wipe the floor with you. Well, this is a good thing to have, because you can watch, you can see how they built for most of the game. Like you can see here, this was basically the build order I used. This was very loosely done, and very poorly done, as a matter of fact. I wouldn't build in this particular order, but I was just doing it for the sake of the show, the sake of the video. In any event, I will try to do a little bit more, maybe something a little more elaborate, but you can really find a lot more elaborate stuff out there everywhere. But this is just, like I said, the utmost basic stuff that should help you in not falling behind when you start a game, and it'll just get you on the right track. So, alright, well that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be casting some more of my matches soon. I just finished all of my placement games. I'm not going to be casting all of them because they were all really bad. I might talk about them a little bit. I might cast my last one. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, thanks for watching. Remember, you can follow me on my blog, starcraftnoob.tumblr.com. Also, gkick.net. You can follow me on Twitter, @gkickperry, Perry. So yeah, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe. Thanks a lot. See you next time.